During summer season, most of us prefer cotton clothes because it keeps us cool. So what do you think? This cotton cloth comes directly from the field? No, the process is not that simple. This cotton is processed in factories and it goes through a long process, right? So the cotton is drawn from the fields, the raw cotton. It is then taken to factories where it is processed by first putting through the power loom. There it is spinned. So after spinning, it is weaved into cotton yarn. This cotton yarn is then knitted to make cotton fabric or cotton garments, which is tailored to make different cotton clothes, and that is how we get these cotton clothes. So we just saw that the raw cotton taken from the fields are taken to factories where it is processed, and then finished cotton fabrics are created or produced. This cotton fabric is sold to retailers, and from these retailers we buy the different cotton garments or different cotton clothes. So this entire process, from the drawing of raw materials to the distribution of these finished goods, is how industries work. So what exactly is an industry? So industries are an economic activity, right? What kind of an economic activity? It is an economic activity that is concerned with the production and manufacture of goods from raw materials followed by its distribution, right? So we just saw that the raw cotton was first taken from the fields, processed in the factories, right? So it is produced and manufactured. It is processed there, and then it is taken to different places or distributed, and that is how it reaches us. So this entire process, this entire economic activity comes under industries, right? Also, these goods that are manufactured and produced in the factories are of high economic value. So these goods have a high utility and a good economic value. And what do we mean by high utility? Well, high utility means that these goods can be used for many purposes. So for various reasons could we use these manufactured goods that is distributed in different parts of the world and is sold to us in different markets. So in the very beginning we saw how big machines were used to process the raw cotton and made into the cotton fabric. So what do you think? Did these modern machines existed from the very beginning? No. It all happened with the advent of Industrial Revolution. We will learn about Industrial Revolution a little later, but first let's take a look at the period before Industrial Revolution. So, before mid-18th century, we can see that handloom was used and handwritten books were available. What does that mean? In the absence of modern machines, most of the work was done manually, right? As you can see here, a handloom is being used. This handloom is man-made, and you see a lady is knitting a fabric here. Right? Similarly, the book over here is handwritten. You must have seen that the newspapers that we read on a daily basis is not handwritten. It is printed. These newspapers are printed in different printing press, right? So it is only possible with the introduction of modern machines. So earlier, when there were no modern machines, most of the books were handwritten, and it took a very long time to complete one book or to complete one fabric. So by this we also understand that since making of these goods or writing of these books took such a long time, these were only available in a limited amount. Right. Another two very good examples can help us understand that what actually led to the introduction of modern machines and the modernization of the industries, right? So we see that goods that required much labor like paper or glass were very expensive because it involved the work of a lot of labor force, right? So it was very expensive, which makes it very obvious that only the rich could afford these expensive goods, and it was not provided or it was not available to a larger population, right? So we see that goods like paper and glass and many other goods that required much labor were expensive and not available to the larger population. Similarly, another very good example is the scarcity of iron nails in colonial America. So it was believed that in colonial America, old houses were burnt in order to collect and reuse the iron nails. Yes. So the unavailability of the basic goods to the larger population made them realize that the introduction of modern machines was very important, that a revolution was required so that the needs of the people could be met. So if you have ever watched an old black and white English movie, you must have noticed steam engines. So it takes back to the era of Industrial Revolution. Yes. So what exactly was the Industrial Revolution? So Industrial Revolution first occurred in Great Britain in 1760. Modern machines were introduced which replaced human labor, and eventually goods and services were available to a larger population. It became affordable for the middle class and also the poor sections of the society. The expensive goods were now available at a cheaper price. So before moving on to learn more about Industrial Revolution or industries, let's take a look at this interesting fact. So did you know that the modern classroom design is very similar to the factory design of the Industrial Revolution? And this could be justified by stating 4 factors. So in our classrooms, if you have noticed or observed the sitting arrangement, you must have seen that our desks are arranged in a row. Similar thing happened in these factories during the Industrial Revolution. As you can see that the desks are all arranged in a row. So the laborers or the workers are sitting in a row and working on the goods, right? Second important factor that makes it similar is the ringing of bell. In schools, all of us must have waited for the last ring, right? The last bell ring, and we could go home and rest or play. Similarly, in these factories even, a bell was rung at the end of the day, notifying them that the day is over, the work is done for today, and they can go home and rest. The third factor is the conveyor belt. So just like in schools, we are promoted from one class to a higher class and then to a higher class, a similar thing happened to the goods in these industries. So a good was passed through different stages, from one stage to a different stage, and as it crossed through the stages, it got developed more and more. Just like we develop or we become even more educated or even more smart as we go higher in class, a similar thing happened to the goods. The goods, as it crossed different stages, it became more and more better. The fourth important point is standardization, right? So just like in schools, we see that a syllabus is maintained, right? All of us have to study the same syllabus in different classes. So for different class, we have a standard syllabus that has to be followed by each student. In factories too, in the Industrial Revolution, standardization was followed. So the goods, as you can see here, being produced or being worked on by the laborers are of the same quality and of the same measurement, or they are just very similar. So there was standardization maintained throughout these factories. So these four factors make it very evident that the modern day classroom design is very similar to the factory design of the Industrial Revolution. A while ago we saw that steam engines were being loaded with coal. Coal is used as a fuel to heat up the water and steam is produced. By using this steam power, these steam engines were run. So in Industrial Revolution, these steam engines were an important development, right? Other than that, if we talk about other industries, we see that the first industry to get mechanized, or the first industry to which modern machines were introduced, was the textile industry, right? So this was only possible with the introduction of this spinning jenny. Yes. So what exactly was the spinning jenny? Spinning jenny is a multi-spindle spinning frame that helps in spinning the raw fabric or the raw material. So this spinning jenny was introduced in many textile industries, and then it was used to spin the raw cotton or the raw materials that was then processed to make the cotton fabrics or other fabrics, right? So spinning jenny was a key development in the industrialization of the textile industries. So modern day industries were also established in India. The spinning jenny also played an important role in modernizing or industrializing the textile industries in India. So you can see that the Bombay Spinning and Weaving Mill was established in 1854. This was the first textile industry to be established in India. This is the picture of the present day Bombay Spinning and Weaving Mill. So just like the cotton industry, even jute mills were established near Kolkata in the Hooghly region, right, in 1855. So Hooghly River, as you know, is an important source of these industries. Jute requires a lot of water. So these jute mills established in the banks of river Hooghly, where it flourished, and eventually the Hooghly region or the Hooghly belt became the industrial hub of Kolkata, or rather India. So before moving on, could you help me answer this question, right? So the question asks, where were the jute mills first established in India? Was it the Hooghly region? Was it the Chota Nagpur region, or was it the Sindh region or the Brahmaputra region? Yes, we just saw that the jute mills were established in the Hooghly region near Kolkata in 1855. Industrial revolution that first occurred in Britain eventually spread to other parts of the world, right? So you see that countries like India also got a boost in its economy with the introduction of industries like the iron and steel industry. So the iron and steel industry was first established in Jamshedpur, that is in Jharkhand. So these photographs here are of the first iron and steel industry in India, established in Jamshedpur in 1907. And what was this iron and steel industry? It was TISCO, or Tata Iron and Steel Company Limited, right? Following the establishment of TISCO, Visvesvaraya Iron and Steel Plant was also established in 1923 in Bhadravati, that is a district in Karnataka, right? So these two important industries have a major impact on India's economy. A while ago, we just saw how coal was used as a fuel to heat up the water where steam was produced, and the steam power was used to run these steam engines. These steam engines were important developments of the Industrial Revolution, right? So even in India in the year 1853, the first passenger train was run between Boribandar in Bombay and Thane in Maharashtra, and it covered a distance of 34 kilometers. Right. So in India, this was the first passenger train carrying people from Bombay to Maharashtra in 1853. In this lesson, we were able to understand the meaning of industries. So industry refers to the economic activity that involves the production and manufacture of goods for commercial purpose. It is followed by its distribution. Now, industries were not there from the very beginning. There were certain reasons that led to the establishment of industries. For example, the scarcity of nails in America, and also the need to cut down on the expensive goods that were a result of human labor. So with the introduction of industries and modern machines, human labor was cut down and the expensive goods were now available at inexpensive cost or at a lower prices to a greater population. And so industries became eventually very important. Now after the Industrial Revolution of 1716 Great Britain, it spread to other parts of the world, and eventually it led to the establishment of other industries across different regions and different countries. In India too, the first textile industry was a result of the modern machines and technologies that came after the Industrial Revolution. Spinning jenny played a very important role in the mechanization of the textile industry, which was the first industry to be mechanized. Following the textile industry, even the iron and steel industry and the jute industry became very important for the economic and overall development of countries like India. Through post-industrial revolution and the establishment of various industries across the world moved towards a more modern and defined development. In our next lesson, we will be taking a look at other impacts of industrial revolution, both its negative and positive impacts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock test. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.